Hello everyone, this is Krista and welcome back to the Feminine Takeoff YouTube channel. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy lives to watch my video. That really means a lot to me and I am so happy to share my thoughts with you and we can all grow together as feminine beings and self-care together. 8 ways to keep your sunshine and your kindness in a world where nice girls finish last. So I wrote down a few points. It's going to be 8 points on the topic and I'm really excited to share it with you all. Okay, forgive me, I actually took notes just because I don't want to get sidetracked, and so let's get started with point number 1. Point number 1 on how to keep your sunshine and your kindness in a world where nice girls finish last is knowing that you have the right to be yourself and to be happy. So I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that. Knowing that you have the right to be yourself and to be happy, that stops anybody from coming into your path and forcing you into that shell of, the resting bee face. A lot of times women, I see beautiful women and women who keep themselves so well, but they don't smile. They are just closed off. They're not happy on the exterior, at least, because it's a protection mechanism. I've been there, I've done that, where I would be somewhere and I would just be closed off. I would have my resting bee face on, or my poker face as you would call it, because I didn't want anybody to see my happiness, see my inner sunshine, and I didn't want them to see it and think, oh, I can take advantage of her. I can just go and do and say whatever I wish to her. So with knowing that, just know that you have the right at all times to be happy and to be yourself. I wrote another point about this that I don't want to forget. This is actually a real life example that happened to me. So I was at a conference recently, or not long ago, and I was in a group of people and we were all having a conversation, just a casual conversation. And during the conversation, there's somebody else within the group that I was in. They look over at someone walking by and they said, oh, don't you just hate it when someone's walking throughout their day with such an awful smile or such an awful grin on their face? Why aren't they so happy? What are they smiling about? And it shocked me so much because I'm guilty. I am guilty of smiling all the time. God has done so much for me that I have to marvel at his work. I smiled at pebbles, I will smile at a palm tree. This is a really good point because when I grew up in Mali, in West Africa, and in Mali is a desert, and they don't have a lot of palm trees, or they didn't have a lot of palm trees in the part of Mali that I was at. So I didn't see palm trees until I was about 8 or 9 years old when I went to Ghana, where my mother is partially from. So because of that, the first time I was like, oh, I couldn't even fathom palm trees existing. And honestly, I live in a city now where palm trees are everywhere. Like, I look at them outside of my balcony every day. When I'm in bed, my window also faces balcony, so I see it all the time, every day, all the time. And I still have that marvel inside of me that I had at 8 or 9 years old, seeing a palm tree for the first time. So sometimes a friend will come visit, or I could be driving or be around people and I'd be like or I'd be like and it's not because I'm being weird, it's just that I'm so used to marveling at life, at God's work. There was a time of my life where I was in a dark space and I allowed myself to just be consumed by negativity and darkness. So I didn't smile at the simple marvels of life. But now, I don't know, God, the happiness I have in me is placed by God. Like, even I can't take it away. It's just there. But anyway, so back to the conference. While that person was saying, oh my God, this awful smile on this person's face, who wakes up smiling and happy like that, and why aren't they sharing that with the world? I was like, wow, we can't even smile. We have to just be unhappy. Misery really does love company, huh? Anyway, so point number one, just know that you have the right to be happy and to smile and to be yourself at any point, whenever you want. It doesn't matter if nice girls finish last or whatever. And we're gonna go into that a little deeper. We don't need to be nice girls, but we can be kind girls. We can be kind women. We can be kind sisters, kind mothers, kind aunties, kind women in general, and be happy about it. We can be ourselves. So anyway, let's move on to point number two before I get sidetracked even further. Number two is knowing that your kindness, your sunshine and light does not need to be performed at any random request of someone. So truly know that your kindness or your sunshine and your happiness it's not a performative thing that someone can be like, oh, you're kind, right? Or, you seem like you're nice, right? Show me, like, do this thing for me, give me money, kiss me, give me your body, or I don't know, perform, go ahead, no, you do not have to show your sunshine at someone's sheer random request at all. Your kindness is up to you. Your happiness, your sunshine is yours. We will have rainy days. We will have days where we're actually just calm. When I'm usually pleasant, so I'm usually smiling, I'm usually happy. But when I'm serious, when I'm, studying or at work or, I'm learning something new, I'm not, sometimes I am, but often I'm not like, no one's gonna take me seriously. I especially with the type of work I do, I have to be personable. But, if I'm just like, I can't function in my life like that. So you have the right to keep your kindness and show it and your sunshine, and show it when you feel like it. Okay, don't let anybody bully you into being that way or perform for them. It's not and action kind. No, that's not what we're doing, especially as feminine women. You can be calm and with a simple smile on your face. A really good important point, I don't want to get sidetracked, but an important point that I do is, because as a single woman and because certain attention from men, I don't want to veer into that path, certain paths. I smile a lot, and I show, my teeth is a big part of my face, but I try, if I'm mindful of it, I try not to show too much teeth to men. So you can just be pleasant, like be kind, but oftentimes if you see me like really excited and happy, I maintain that because it's who I am, but I try not to show men that I don't know too much teeth, because again, this is a different culture than me too, so they can misinterpret that in a way that can be dangerous to me, so ladies, let's be truly mindful of that. So point number three, so far we have know that you have the right to be yourself and be happy. Point number two was know that your kindness, your sunshine and light does not need to be performed at the random request of others. Point number three, and point number 3 is actually such an important thing for me. But point number 3 is, know that just because you're kind does not mean you cannot say no. I'm going to repeat that. Just because you're kind does not mean you cannot say no. Ladies, this took me so long to learn. I'm a little bit ashamed of that. And Brene Brown says shame only thrives in the dark. So I'm not like badly shamed about it, but it really took a long time for me to understand that just because I'm kind or just because I'm generous and loving doesn't mean that I can't say no to protect myself. So I'll tell you guys a story. English is not my first language. I speak about 4 languages fluently. English is a 4th language that I've learned fluently. So when I first moved to the US, I didn't know I didn't know English. So I only knew how to say yes. I think I knew how to say yes and hi and a little bit. I knew how to say hi, yes, and a little, no, not a little bit. I knew how to say a little bear because I used to watch the Berenstain Bears, and I thought a little bit and a little bear were the same thing. So when people would say, do you speak English? I would say a little bear, yes. But anyway, that's beyond the point. I didn't know how, of course, I speak French. French is one of the languages that I speak. Of course, I don't know, but even growing up in my household, children, or people in general, but children in my culture aren't allowed to say no to adults, or no is just not something that you commonly say. Someone doesn't say, if someone asks you, like if someone comes and say like, do you want some tea, you usually don't even say no. You just take the tea and you sip it a little bit, and you say thank you, but you don't say no, like no, I don't want this, or even no thank you can be a little bothersome. So I wasn't used to saying no. I grew up really sheltered, so I just didn't say no in my common life, in my everyday life. And so truly, how can you remain and keep your kindness and your sunshine? Learn to say no. It's okay to say no as a kind person. It's okay to say no as a nice. We're not nice people. Nice is an subjective word, but you can say no as a kind, sunshine, happy person. It doesn't take away from that. So truly, guys, truly know that. Anyway, let's move on to my 4th point. I think we're at number 4 now. Number 4, learn the appropriate words for the things that you mean to say. I'm going to say this one more time. Learn the appropriate words for the things that you mean to say. What do I mean by that, you might ask? I used to do this a lot. A lot of this, I'm guilty. I was at some point guilty of it. But I did not, let's say I'm in a store, a shopping store, a shopping market, somewhere where you buy things. I would just, if someone's in my way, someone will bump into me and I will say, sorry. And then I realized that I thought it's because I'm so nice. Someone bumps into me, I'm kind and I'm pleasant and I'm so nice. But that's not the case. You can be kind and someone bumps into you, whether it's your fault or their fault, you can say, excuse me. And also, saying sorry when you haven't committed something or not, you don't have to say sorry unless you've hurt them in some way. You can say, excuse me, especially if they bump into you. This applies more for when someone bumps into you, someone's in your way. You don't say, sorry, I need to get by, or, oops, sorry. No, you say, excuse me. Because every time you keep saying sorry, 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 what your brain realizes or what your brain is processing is, I'm doing wrong, I'm sorry. Think of like a sorry little girl or a sorry little woman who's just, she has to like tiptoe herself around like a mouse. It's, and I used to do this often. That's not correct, that's not right. So truly, I'm gonna repeat that final point. I'm gonna repeat that point again. Finally, learn the appropriate words for the things that you mean to say. Stop saying sorry randomly when nothing is your fault. Say excuse me, or if you must, forgive me. May I come through here? But you cannot, don't say sorry all the time. And not only with the word sorry, but just think of other things. Mean and say what you mean. Okay? All right. So number 5. Oh my God, this point is so important. This, if you take nothing away from this video today, please write it down, or just, this is something that will really truly be helpful for you ladies. It's so important that I need to take a sip of my coffee, of my tea, so that I can have a soft voice, a clear voice to express this. So give me 1 second. That's better. Oh, water. Okay. Number 5. Oh my goodness. Number 5. Point number 5 is have boundaries. Have boundaries. Please have boundaries. A big part of self-care in general is to have boundaries. Boundaries are one of the pillars for sanity. I'm going to repeat. Boundaries are one of the pillars for sanity. If you do not have boundaries, not only will you allow people to disrespect you, allow people to steal from you, you might even disrespect others. You might take away from someone else's sunshine. You might be the opposite of kindness against someone. So not only against yourself, but against someone. So it's so important, please have boundaries. In a world where nice girls finish last, and you know what nice girls are? The women who do not have boundaries. Those are nice girls. Kind women, however, have boundaries. They have clear, concise, simple boundaries. Your life would move from 0 to 100 to 1,000 with boundaries. I promise you, ladies. Please, please, please do some inner work around that. All right, so point number 6. This is also a really important point. All of my points are important. I've taken time to ponder on them before sharing them, so I don't know why I keep saying this is really important. Of course, I worked on them, I've experienced them myself. But point number 6 is quickly learn to forgive yourself for whatever it is. Quickly learn to forgive yourself and learn from what you seek forgiveness from yourself about. And what do I mean by that? When you learn to forgive yourself, when you fell short, when you accidentally, let's say, the other day I was on the road, I was driving, and I was driving a little bit fast, not too fast, but just, I wasn't going over the speed limit, but I was fast on the road, like on a rural street. And there was a car at a red light that turned green that just stopped there. I don't know, maybe I didn't notice their blinkers, or maybe they didn't have the blinkers on. I think they had the blinkers on. They had to. So anyway, I didn't notice, and I was behind them, and I honked at them, and like, go. I waited a little bit, they didn't move, the light was green, so I honked at them. And then eventually I just went to the next lane, and when I passed them, I noticed that all of their windows were down. It's 100 and something degrees. The car was stopped, and the hood of the car was open. What does that mean? That means that their car was broken down in the middle of the road, and to add anxiety to the matter, I was just now honking at them, and I felt so bad. I felt really bad about it. But you know what? I forgave myself. I gave them a little prayer in my car. I said, God, please help them go through this. If it is money they need to fix it, help them find the money. And I forgave myself. I'm not going to hold this over my head, you know? The reason why I give that example is when you quickly forgive yourself, you don't have to be nice to someone else, or maybe that same person, over something that you should have forgiven yourself about. When you forgive yourself, if you've made a mistake and it was truly a mistake or an error at your end, and you say, you know what, this was really not how I wanted to handle myself. I really mishandled myself in this situation, but it's in the past now. I'm going to do my best to not do this again, not make this mistake again, and I'm going to forgive myself. When someone else, next time I'm driving and someone stops, I'm gonna maybe try not to be so quick at honking at people to begin with, and I don't have to also let somebody cut in front of me without honking, you know? So that's a very simple mistake. But truly, when you forgive yourself, you don't have to overcompensate by being too nice. You can just radiate in your kindness, in your sunshine, in your femininity, without going overboard out of guilt or shame or anything, because you forgive yourself. You know, oops, it happens, and I will do better next time. So that's the conclusion of that point. So we have 2 more points left, and then I will call it finish the video. So point number 7 is treat yourself as kindly as you treat others, or as nicely as you treat others. What do I mean by that? When you are kind to yourself, it's easy, and you feel less resentment when you are kind to somebody and they do something mean to you. You can just say, oh, well, not doing that again, or okay, this person doesn't like kindness like how I seem to do for myself, so okay, like you easily let go of it without letting it fester in your head, in your heart, you know, without saying, okay, now I smiled at this person and they didn't smile back, or they rolled their eyes at me, now I'm never gonna smile at anybody again. No, you're just gonna say, okay, maybe I smile at them like how I usually smile at myself in the mirror, and you know, maybe they're having a bad day or whatever, but I'm gonna move forward from it. It's not a big deal, you know? So seriously, treat yourself as kindly as you treat others. And within that point, another thing that I wrote is, more often than not, people who are manipulatively nice aren't as nice or kind to themselves. You know, a lot of times when we are nice, we do it for a result. We do it so that people can like us. We do it so that maybe that person can do the reciprocate. Niceness needs reciprocation sometimes. Kindness does not. Kindness, if you do something out of the kindness of your heart and you get either punished for it or you don't get rewarded for it, okay, you know, you didn't lose anything, you know, no love lost. I was going to do that anyway, either for yourself or for another person, you know, I was gonna do this anyway, you know. So that's what I mean to say. Back to the point. Treat yourself as kindly as you treat yourself. Treat yourself as kindly as you treat others. That's the point. Okay. So the final point, we are almost done. Thank you for listening me talk on and on. I may have even went off track to another subject. Please forgive me. I do that often. This is why I'm single. Anyway, final point number 8: reject anyone's delusion that has been placed on you. So again, because you're kind, because you're sunshine, and because you may smile often, because you're innerly genuinely happy, people might think it's either because of them or because you want something from them. When you can, if they do it blatantly enough, reject it. Quickly reject anyone's delusion that has been placed on you. You're kind, you're full of sunshine, you're happy, not a doormat. Anyway, thank you all for taking time out of your special, precious day to watch me. I hope that you've taken something away from this video. Please like and subscribe, comment on any things that you think I've missed or any topics that you'd like for me to discuss in the future. Again, thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, week, year, enjoying your sunshine, enjoying your kindness, and not letting anybody walk all over you, and maintaining that peace that you have worked so hard to cultivate within yourself.